Hey guys, this name is Light, and welcome back to another EnA podcast. I'm with my co-host. Go ahead and say hi.
Sup?
Yeah, my co-host Alex. So today's a special episode just because I wanted to do this a while back, but I never really got the time. But now since Justice League has came out, and now we're not getting the DC movie until December, at least like very late December. I wanted to do this just because the DCEU seems very chaotic at this point. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how we would reboot the DCEU if we had complete control over it. Like, it's rebooted. You get to do whatever you want. You keep it in phases, sort of like Marvel. Um, but yeah, you basically just plan it out. So any phase could have any amount of movies, whatever. But yeah, so we're going to go about this in a way to the point where one of us is going to give off the idea, and then we'll just criticize it or whatever, and then I guess we'll let you guys choose who'd you like better, whatever. We're not really gonna vote on it. It's not really a competitive thing. It's more of just to see how creative we can get. But yeah, so should be a fun episode. This whole episode is gonna be dedicated to that. We're not covering news today. However, last podcast we did say something about the May box offices, and we were a coincidental shit happened, like Simpsons prediction, like what Alex said. The Avengers is now releasing a week earlier than expected, April 27th. So that like whole segment contradicted itself, especially at the time when we recorded and uploaded it, because we recorded it like the day before. Yeah.
So like Marvel just wants to fuck us and make us look, goofy, but it's cool. We got the movie a week earlier, so I'll deal with it.
Yeah, our FBI agent is probably like spotting this and like, that's a good fucking idea, and they're like, hey, release the movie a week early, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, thanks FBI.
Okay, but yeah, so I just wanted to quickly talk about that. I'll probably talk about that in a later episode, just because we wanted to keep this simply for the phase one, or not phase one, for the DC phases and stuff. So let's get right into it. So I want to jump in first. So I have 4 phases. I think phase 3 is the longest and phase 4 is the shortest. Phase 1 is kind of how I would do it. So basically what I would have done is phase 1, this is without, by the way, like any casting. We're just gonna keep it with the characters. So Man of Steel, I would keep it the same. Like everything's completely the same. He crashes on Kansas. Zod is introduced, but I would introduce Lex Luthor at some point. Like just have him like little monologues. Like, oh, did you hear about the Kryptonians crash landing and stuff? And the Kryptonian that's loose on Earth or whatever. Have him be like methodical, like not fucking Riddler over here and shit in Batman v Superman. Even though I like that version of Lex Luthor, but I didn't want him like too insane. Like I really wanted him like serious tone, like how he was similar to the Justice League end credit scene. So I thought that would have been cool just to keep it just the same. So let Man of Steel be the reason why the Justice League comes out, or why the reason Justice League is trying to form and stuff. So we'll get into that, how that works. So the second movie is Wonder Woman, and I would keep that the same. I would keep it a prequel. But during a certain point, have her introduce the mother box, like just because in the DCEU the mother boxes were never introduced properly up until Justice League. So like the mother boxes literally came out of nowhere. So I would introduce the mother box within the first Wonder Woman movie, and have like the Queen of Atlantis show up, like the original Queen of Atlantis, in like a flashback or something, and talk about her like delivering the mother boxes to the Amazons or whatever, and just like kind of have that like reference, like, oh, they were once at war or something, kind of referencing like Flashpoint or something, just like just to like reference future storylines. But I would keep I would keep Wonder Woman the same, but then during like at the end, like she goes to like Metropolis or something like that, just so like, oh, okay, this movie is, or like the DCEU is connected, subtle hints like we talked about in the last episode. Next one, I would do Aquaman, just because of the Queen of Atlantis showing up. So I would do the Trent storyline. The villains would be Black Manta and Ocean Master, but I would have like Ocean Master or Black Manta, one of them try and use the mother box that was given to the Atlanteans to introduce the second mother box, and have Mira explain, or have like Mira or somebody explain the origin of the mother boxes and how they came to be, and then like have them like subtly hint like, oh, have you heard about the Superman that's came out, that stopped the Metropolis destruction or whatever. Just kind of like, just so like, okay, this is connected, because the general audience doesn't really follow comic books like most of us. But I would do that, and then I would introduce the Flash for the fourth movie. Now I would have Barry go against the Rogues, which means Captain Cold, Heat Wave, Golden Glider, and Mirror Master. I would have a Henry Allen scene, and I would have him like talking about a yellow blur, like, "Oh, do you remember that night?" And Barry would be like, "Yeah, there was a yellow blur," and blah blah blah. Just a reference to Reverse Flash. Flash gets his powers, of course, in the movie, and Barry, seeing this Superman, is inspired and decides to fight crime. Like, oh well, if Superman can bring hope, I can bring hope to Central City. So throughout the story, he's introduced to Star Labs, and this will introduce Cyborg. So like Victor Stone will make like a little cameo and stuff like throughout the movie. Like Flash goes talks to what's Cyborg's father's name? I completely forgot. I'm blinked out.
Hang on. I don't have it.
Yeah, whoever, Dr. Stone. Let's call him Dr. Stone, I guess. Like he would like Barry would go and like tell him like, oh, like these powers are amazing, blah blah blah, and then Victor Stone would be like, and he's like, oh, this is what you're doing, you're meeting up with the Flash, blah 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 blah. Just introduce Victor Stone's cameo, and then towards like the end, have him like introduce the mother box and stuff. The last mother box. I mean, like, oh, we're experimenting on this mother box and stuff. And then during a certain point, Victor ends up in a car crash and stuff, and that's when Barry tries to help doctors. I think it's Celia Stone or something like that. Try and like help revive Victor, and it's Victor's freaking dying on the table, and then he's like, oh, let me get this mother box, and he just does what he does to Cyborg, and it just turns him into a monster. And Barry's like, what did you do and stuff, and Cyborg's like, what happened? And Cyborg just runs, because he's afraid of what he became. He doesn't understand what just happened. And Flash goes finds Cyborg and kind of like talks to him like, hey, you got these powers now, let's use them to good use, because like later on Barry gets like his ass kicked by the Rogues. Like I'm talking about like completely ass kicked. Like he fails, like he doesn't believe he can be a hero. And then Cyborg is like, oh, if we can help one another, we can like help use each other's powers. We were both created in accidents, so let's like help each other. So they both help each other, and yeah, they just help each other defeat the Rogues, and then towards the end of the movie, have like a portal in Star Labs. This could be an end credit scene as well. Like a parademon is found at the end of the movie, teasing the invasion of Darkseid or Apocalypse. And that's what you stop at. That would seem really cool, because now you had Wonder Woman, the Flash, and Aquaman already introduced in mother boxes, so you're set. You can just continue on from that. The next movie I would have would be the Batman, and I would do the Court of Owls storyline just because it's a really interesting origin story of the Batman. I would have the Court of Owls try and find the mother boxes to use it for like dead bodies, to resurrect the dead bodies or the rituals, to give them that superhuman strength. And I would introduce Jason Todd like somewhere in the beginning. And Nightwing already exists. He already exists, but we'll go into his backstory and how that came later. So like have Batman try and train Jason during this like Court of Owls shit, but have Nightwing also with Batman. And they're like fighting, like, are you really gonna bring another kid into your like war crusade? They're always constantly arguing, and Nightwing's telling them you shouldn't train another Robin because he's a kid. But let's keep in mind Jason is 16 in my universe. So Nightwing and Batman break out into an argument, and Batman tries to find the Court of Owls. He's like, okay, I need you to stay here. Like, I need to find the Court of Owls. Like, Alfred probably like finds the lead. And of course, in the book, if you ever read the Court of Owls book, Batman fails. He's stuck in a labyrinth. So Batman is missing for a few days, and Robin is starting to get really worried. So Nightwing's like, okay, I have to train Jason. So Nightwing is training Jason, and he's telling him all this stuff, like, you have to do this and that. He's never gonna like you if you do this or not. Trying to get into Jason's head, and then Jason's gonna be like, oh, why did you ever leave him? Like, you used to be the first Robin. I used to look up to you, blah blah blah, or something like that. And then have Nightwing like sit down with Jason and give him like a heart-to-heart talk about his like backstory and like why he left. And the reason could be whatever, It could be one night Batman, doesn't stop the Joker from doing something, or, I don't know, like one night the Batman goes too far, or Dick Grayson feels like he's not getting enough, experience with Batman or whatever. And then Batman comes back, but he's like brutally beaten. So this is like halfway through the movie. And Robin and Jason is already trained and stuff, and Batman is like, okay, this is a dangerous group. We're gonna need whoever we can. And Nightwing's like, we're already trained Jason and stuff. And then Batman's gonna train with Jason. Jason probably takes Bruce down once, and it's enough for Bruce to be like, okay, you're putting on the Robin suit. So they put on the Robin suit. Commissioner Gordon is introduced. Barbara Gordon is introduced. Commissioner's like, okay, we found the Court of Owls here and here and here, and he's like, please just do whatever you can. I have a daughter back at home, and there's a little bit of cutscenes between Commissioner Gordon and Barbara Gordon just to set that up. All the three of them try to take down the court, but towards the end, once they do succeed or whatever, Batman, have this as an end credit scene as well. Have Batman open a file containing all the Justice League members, all but one Justice League member, which is the Green Lantern, because obviously he's in space and stuff and hasn't been found yet. So Bruce is assembling the team, and we're learning about he's trying to figure out this origin of the mother box, and he's going to be like, Alfred, like, I feel like this has a deeper connection because like these mother boxes work a specific way. We're going to need to find a team, and obviously ever since the Man of Steel event, Bruce is trying to find more metahumans. And then the next movie would be Green Lantern. To introduce Hal Jordan, I would already have the Yellow Lantern Corps introduced, go over what happened to Sinestro, like if you want to do that Green Lantern movie storyline where he became a Yellow Lantern, have Hal try to quote unquote overcome fear, just keep it really simple, defeat Sinestro, just to introduce the Green Lantern universe. Then the Guardians of the Universe at the end warn Hal about the invasion of Steppenwolf, and then they're like, oh, you have to find the mother boxes to stop him. So this is when, like, okay, now the Justice League is combined. So I would do the war storyline. So this is when we get into Justice League. So the Justice League would do the war storyline. If you ever seen the movie or read the comic book, you would introduce everyone. The invasion of Steppenwolf takes place in Metropolis simply because, Superman was there and Steppenwolf wants to take out the big guy first. So Green Lantern cheeks out Superman but finds the Flash and Cyborg first due to the mother boxes, finding one of the mother boxes. Then Wonder Woman is in Metropolis trying to find an ancient artifact which will tie into her sequel. And then the team comes together, they defeat Steppenwolf, he promises his return to Darkseid. The team is already known around the world. Bruce builds the Hall of Justice or whatever. And then I would have the end credit scene would be the exact same scene from Justice League. So you see Lex Luthor, you see Deathstroke, and Lex Luthor's like, we should have a league of our own. The metahumans are becoming very unstable. They brought this demon or whatever to the Earth. Let's form a league of our own. So then phase 2 would be Suicide Squad. The team would consist of Killer Croc, Deadshot, Black Manta, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, Katana, Rick Flag, and I put in there for fun, Constantine. I wanted to try and do something with Justice League Dark, but I just couldn't find anything in there, so I guess that was like a little reference to him. The team tries to stop the Joker and a mysterious character. The character you never really see him, he's always in the shadows and he's just talking and lurking, and the Joker and him are trying to wreak havoc in Midway City, trying to find some strange liquid, which is later to be shown is the Lazarus Pit. So obviously, who has to do with immortality? Vandal Savage. So Vandal Savage would be the guy, and he's trying to find a solution to becoming completely immortal, because his powers are weakening. He's already like a couple centuries old, so he's trying to find this Lazarus Pit that he's heard about. Now, I wouldn't introduce the League of Shadows or whatever. I would just try to find the Lazarus Pit. Now, Amanda Waller needs to find this liquid because she wants to stop it and get it from the wrong hands. The team is successful. The end credit scene would be, I think I forgot to mention Black Manta's in the team too. The end credit scene would be Black Manta, the Joker, and Vandal Savage are released from Lex Luthor, and he gives them all an offer, like, I want you to join my league and whatever. So then I would have the Cyborg movie, have him try to control his powers. You try to learn more about Cyborg to introduce him more. Let him learn how to become human and machine. I would have the enemy as Grid after his father tries to experiment more on Cyborg's powers, and he accidentally makes a virus and the virus becomes Grid. But Grid shows Cyborg isn't a monster, because Victor's gonna try and like compete about like that back and forth, like, oh, am I really like human or whatever? Am I really fucking normal? But I would have that. So just keep that kind of a standalone movie. I would have Green Lantern 2, and then I would introduce the rest of the colors of the ring. So you introduce red, you just talk about them. You talk about the different colors, because it's going to become very important later. But you only introduce Atrocitus and the Red Lantern Corps. You have Hal fight against his emotions and stuff, because the lantern rings represent different emotions. So at one point he would become all different colors. And then towards the end, show during the battle of Atrocitus and stuff, have a dead lantern still having his ring on or whatever, or being buried with his ring. The ring turns black and it becomes corrupted. Now this is again a tease to a different storyline. Wonder Woman 2, I would let it take place in modern day. You introduce Cheetah and it goes back into her finding the artifact in Justice League, her trying to get over Steve Trevor, whatever. She takes down Cheetah very easily. All that, so just keeping it really simple again. Then I would have the Nightwing movie, because people were probably interested in Nightwing during the Batman movie. So you expand more on Nightwing's origin. Black Mask is the villain. He's running drug routines in and out of Bloodhaven. Nightwing reports to Batman on crime and stuff. They're trying to get along now. And eventually Nightwing takes down Black Mask, and you just keep that simple. Then Batman, the next Batman sequel, would be Batman the Killing Joke, but it would be a mix of the Killing Joke and Death in the Family, the original Death in the Family. So then I would have Batman try and find what's the Joker been up to. Okay, where's he last been ever since this and that happened with Vandal Savage. Jason Todd is still in intense training, and Joker starts committing like serious crimes again in Gotham. Like maybe have him do what he did in the DC Metal when Batman killed him. Joker first breaks into Gordon's apartment during the movie, and he shoots Barbara Gordon. So that's a reference to the Killing Joke storyline, and she becomes paralyzed, and he kidnaps Jim Gordon, and Harley Quinn is with him at this point too. So have Joker and Harley Quinn just trying to plan someone like, who can we hurt that's close to Batman, and they think Jim Gordon first. So Joker does what he does in the Killing Joke, he kidnaps Jim Gordon, whatever, and Batman's there trying to stop the Joker from stopping him, and then when Batman finally captures him, the Joker starts laughing and he goes, oh, you think this is the only thing I had planned? Like, I have other tricks up my sleeve. And then you see Harley Quinn kidnapping Jason, and she ties him up into a warehouse. So Batman is like frantically trying to find Jason Todd because he doesn't know where he's at. He's like going to interrogate the Joker every single day. And then one day he goes to Arkham and he's just not there. Joker's escaped. So Bruce panicking, and then Joker sends the Batman a video of him brutally beating Jason with a crowbar. And then Bruce finds out like if Jason does like this Morse code or something with his hands or his eyes or whatever, and he figures out where he's at, and he goes, and Jason just dies in an explosion, and he vows to avenge Jason during the movie. So he's obviously seeing what the Joker can do. So Joker is locked up in Arkham because they can't trust him anymore. He's completely fucking insane at this point. And they're just gonna decide on his fate later. And this again will tie into another storyline. Justice League 2, I would introduce the Legion of Doom, but then I would have Lex try and bring back Darkseid. So he brings Darkseid to Earth in order to destroy the Justice League. Like maybe the Legion of Doom aren't really successful, or like we need the bigger gun in this fight. So they bring Darkseid to the Earth, and Darkseid is brought to Earth obviously, and the Justice League like teams up with the Legion of Doom because Lex is like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Like he's not here to help us, he's here to destroy us. And Lex helps the Justice League, and he develops a bullet to take down Darkseid, similar to Justice League. I think it's Infinite Crisis is the storyline. And he agrees to take Darkseid out since he thinks it's his fault. So have Lex kind of redeem himself into that good guy persona. And Lex, obviously, I thought it would be funny if Lex is like slapped by Darkseid as he tries to shoot him, and he drops the gun. So Batman sees this, and he picks up the gun and shoots Darkseid as he's about to be sent back to Apokolips. But after shooting Darkseid, he gets mad. Darkseid gets mad, and Batman gets hit by the Omega beams. So I would have Batman killed off by the end of Phase 2, and the funeral is held for Batman. So Batman is completely dead at this point, and there's no signs of bringing him back. Then Phase 3, I would have the Flash. Wally West would have been introduced in the first Flash movie. I would have Wally West gain powers, so Wally becomes Kid Flash. They fight against the Reverse Flash. Barry questions his choices as a hero because he's like, what am I doing? No, Batman died on my watch or whatever. But I would have like Kid Flash let him see that light again. Like, no, you're doing this for a reason. We can't let Reverse Flash really do this Essential City. He's defeated, but he's not killed. And Reverse Flash is put in the Star Labs, and Kid Flash and Barry Allen are now like on the streets. So then I would have Shazam. Shazam sees what the Justice League did. He's inspired by Batman's sacrifice and sees Superman as an ideal hero. Shazam fights Black Adam, and the end credit scene is maybe Superman meets Shazam, and he offers him a spot in the Justice League if he can prove himself. So it's not a guaranteed spot. Then I would introduce Green Arrow. Have him do the island origin, have him return in the midst of Batman being killed off and everything. So he learns about this new metahumans, about all these superheroes coming out, and Black Canary is introduced. And I would have him fight against the Court of Owls again. And this is when Nightwing comes in again and tries to train Green Arrow because he's like, I've heard about you, another rich boy becoming a vigilante or whatever. The Court Owls are trying to find trying to invest them or in how do you call it, infect themselves into other cities just because Batman is gone. But Nightwing and Green Arrow, stop him eventually, and then Nightwing's like, you should join this team called the Justice League, and him and Black Canary are like, okay, we'll accept the offer. Then I would have Man of Steel 2. So I would have Lex and Superman try and work together, but Superman is still very wary of Lex just because of what happened to Batman. But Lex promises, he wants to help mankind after seeing Batman's heroic sacrifice. At a certain point, a meteor crashes on Earth, and Lex investigates it with his company. Lex sees a monster and attack his crew and tells Superman about it, and Superman goes, and this is when Doomsday is introduced. And Doomsday is defeated very easily. He's not into his full form yet. He's thrown into a lake or something, and Superman's like, okay, done, whatever. Lex, don't do it again. But then Doomsday goes to Coast City, and he starts destroying everything around him. So Green Lantern shows up along with Shazam and the Flash, and Doomsday takes out Shazam very easily. Green Lantern is taken out. The Flash is injured but not, taken out. So he runs back to to Superman and tells him, hey, there's this monster in Coast City. You need to stop him. So Superman fights him and stuff, and he somehow gets him to Metropolis. And they obviously exchange the blows to the point where they kill each other. So Superman is now dead, and the Justice League mourns. They're fucking devastated. They lost both of their best soldiers in the fight. Lex sees this and is fucking devastated. He's like, I killed off both Batman and Superman. How the fuck can I do this? And a funeral was held, and Superman is buried right next to Batman. And it's just everyone's completely devastated. But then I would have the end credit scene. I would have Lex explaining to somebody, I don't know, the Flash or somebody, being like, hey, I know a way we can bring back Superman. And Lex is explaining the multiverse theory. There's not more than one Superman, there's more than one Batman. We can get their help if anything ever happens. And he just explained the multiverse. The next movie I would have would be the Blackest Night storyline. So Green Lantern and the Flash are talking about the death of Batman and Superman and how it's affected them. Green Lantern is called by the Guardians and warned about the Black Lanterns returning. So the Black Lantern rings obviously, start taking over the living and dead. The Superman and Batman are brought as zombies. The Justice League has to help Green Lantern obviously and introduce the White Lanterns at this point. And you obviously, bring back Batman and Superman from the dead. And whoever else is dead at that point. It won't be much superheroes, obviously, because, not a lot of superheroes have been introduced at this point. It's just mainly to revive Batman and Superman. So Sinestro becomes the first White Lantern, obviously, just like in the comic books. But, Batman and Superman are brought back to life. They defeat, I don't know his name. I think it's Nectron or something like that. And, they're back to life, and they're like, okay, now we can work on whatever. Everyone's back and stuff. Justice League is fine. We got new heroes now. We got Green Arrow, Black Canary, Shazam, Kid Flash, all Nightwing, all these other characters. And then I would introduce Flashpoint at the end of Phase 3. So Flash thinks about how everyone was brought back and stuff, and man, wouldn't it be cool if I can have my mother back, And the Reverse Flash, breaks out and he persuades Flash, oh, all these heroes are coming back, but you couldn't even save your own mother. And that, and then Flash is like, okay, I'm gonna deal with Flashpoint. So Flashpoint is carried out. And at the end, Batman delivers a letter to Batman, and then have the end credit scene show Batman he's investigating something in the Batcave, but then he sees this strange shine in the cave, and he's like, what the hell? And he goes, chips the part, and he finds the comedian's button. So this is where it starts to get a little more interesting. So this is Phase 4, so this is the final phase of my DCEU thing. So we would have the Flash Rebirth, which is, that's just the title, that's what I would call it. The Flash is realizing that things are missing from the timeline. He can't quite figure it out, though, because Jason Todd is now alive, and working with Batman. Or, no, not working with Batman. Jason Todd is alive. He knows Jason Todd's alive. I helped him with Bruce with, for some reason, Batgirl. But Kid Flash is missing, and you don't know it until, you start noticing, what the fuck? Where's Kid Flash? He fights the Rogues again. He fights them almost the exact same way he did in the first movie, but he can't quite defeat them all. So Green Arrow and Green Lantern team up, hey, what's going on and stuff, and they just help him defeat Rogues. But there's more Rogues. I couldn't quite figure out who else to put in there, so I just put more Rogues. The Flash explains to Green Lantern and Green Arrow that something is missing, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll find another reason. You'll find something else to I don't know, put your shit on, just think about. And then he's Barry's running at some point, and he sees a face, and hears a familiar voice, and he's like, oh shit, Wally West, and he jogs him out the Speed Force. And Wally's like, hey, it's not your fault. Flashpoint wasn't your fault. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, there's something else bigger than us. And, we lost. And, there's something else altered our reality. So obviously this comes into Batman Under the Red Hood storyline. And Batman finds out Jason is alive due to the information Flash gave him. So obviously Jason Todd is brought back as the Red Hood. And he's revealed to be Jason Todd. Then Red Hood is like, they have that fight and Red Hood disappears. You don't see him. He talks to the Flash. Batman talks to the Flash and explains what Wally, and Flash explains what Wally told him. Like, hey, something's going on and it's not quite right, And Jason kidnaps the Joker, obviously. So the Joker is yet again beaten, whatever, by Jason Todd, and Batman's like, okay, I'm locking you up in Arkham for good this time, and he locks Joker away in Arkham and stuff. So the last thing you see is Joker locked away in Arkham. So then this is when I would introduce the Injustice storyline. So you cut to a scene, you just automatically do a cold opening, and you see Joker locked in Arkham, and he's laughing. Now it's Joker, but it doesn't quite look like the Joker. Like, it's not the Joker you're used to. So then you see him laughing and stuff, and Superman, but it's not our Superman, is investigating with Batman, but again, not our Batman, to find a nuke in Metropolis. And the Batman is interrogating the Joker, trying to find out where it is. Superman grows tired, and he goes and tries to interrogate the Joker himself. Joker laughs at Superman, saying, you're too late or whatever, and Superman looks like the nearby TV, and he's like, oh, you're bluffing, but he sees the TV, and he's like, a nuke has gone off in Metropolis, and he realizes Lois Lane is dead, everyone he's ever loved is dead, and he rips out Joker's heart. And then you flash, and you see show the title sequence, Injustice, and then you would be like back on Earth 1, and you would just carry out the Injustice storyline, have Lex explain the multiverse to Batman, and some heroes start to disappear. So like Batman and stuff, like they're like, just some superheroes start to disappear, and Lex Luthor's like, I think I know where they're going. I think they're going to this multiverse, but it could be any other Earth, and they're just trying to figure out what Earth they went to. At the end, after seeing what the Joker could do, Batman and Superman think about Joker's fate, considering Joker just killed everyone. This is gonna again fall into another storyline. Just then, when they're deciding the Joker's fate, Cyborg calls from the Watchtower, explain a massive radioactive spike is in Gotham, and then they meet Dr. Manhattan, and you cut it out. Then it's the Doomsday Clock storyline. Now, we obviously don't have enough information on Doomsday Clock. There's only been 3 issues at this point, but the Watchmen meet the DC Universe. They're trying to figure out Dr. Manhattan's true purpose. How I would really kind of get it out there, like the Watchmen is this DC Universe, is have like a public event being like, there's these characters, the Watchmen, because a lot of people already know Watchmen at this point, and be like, you need to watch this movie to understand what's going to go on in Doomsday Clock. Just have them really, similar to what they did with Doomsday Clock, being like, you need to read the Watchmen in order to understand what's going to go on in Doomsday Clock. But I would introduce the Watchmen again, have Dr. Manhattan and Superman duke it out somehow. But Dr. Manhattan, I don't know, he comes with an agreement with them. He's like, okay, I'll stay on this Earth, but I'll help you out during my time. So obviously they come to terms. Dr. Manhattan is this fucking god, and they don't know what to do with him at this point. So then, don't do a movie for like 2 years or so, and then do the final movie, hype it up to this movie, Kingdom Come. And if you know the Kingdom Come storyline, you probably know where this is going to. So all the heroes come together after Doomsday Clock, and Dr. Manhattan is still this young being in DC Universe, and the heroes are like, half of the heroes are like, hey, let Dr. Manhattan do the work. He's basically this god figure. We don't have to save anybody no more. Dr. Manhattan could be at any place at any time. So like Batman and Superman are divided and stuff, and this is when the Joker's fate is finally decided after I don't know, like 10 years being locked away in Arkham. And Dr. Manhattan's in the courtroom and he's hearing what Joker is doing, and they sentence Joker not to the death penalty or whatever, and Dr. Manhattan is getting like mad, and he kills Joker. And Joker dies, and Batman's like, why did you do that? You're not supposed to kill anybody. And then Superman's like, haven't you seen what the Joker's did? He's killed my wife on another Earth, blah, 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 blah. And, this big fight and divide between heroes are carried out. So the teams are like Superman and Batman or whatever, have them fight towards the end. And then a nuke, like during the storyline Kingdom Come, a nuke is launched to where they fight. And they're like, okay, is this going to be the end? But then have Dr. Manhattan stop that nuke. And being like, you guys need to stop. Like, this is just a waste of everyone's time, And he tells them, like, I created this universe, similar to how apparently he created the universe in DC. We don't know for a fact if he's created the DC universe yet in comic books. But in this universe, he's created it. So you just, he's like, oh, I can do whatever, you guys need to stop. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know, have some resolution. Not really not really like happy Disney fucking ending, keep it grounded. That's kind of where the story would end, Some of the heroes do die. Let's say like Green Lantern or Wonder Woman dies or something like that, and they're just completely taken out or whatever. There's no coming back. The heroes are divided, and you end it off with everything coming together. Like Superman is retired, Batman is still doing crime in his old years. Maybe do a Dark Knight spinoff in a couple years later, or something like that. But that's where I would end my DC universe thing. I know that was a long shit, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot. Although I do like how expansive you get. You really hold no bars. You really just like it really is a universe or universes to be clear.
Yeah.
Going into the multiverse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it was pretty good. I mean, there's really no huge gripes I have on it. I really did like just how things got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's it. I wouldn't expand. I was trying to do more like I was going to do something with DC Metal, with Lex explaining like the multiverse, like maybe trying to bring back Superman or whatever. Batman, he brings out these fucking villainous Batmans or whatever, and he's like, fuck, I really fucked up again, But I couldn't really find a point, or at least a story or whatever to fit that in. So I kind of just ended it with Kingdom Come, just because and stuff. And I realized I needed a phase 4, and I was like, okay, I can't do just 3 phases. I'm gonna need a phase 4 to really expand on it. But yeah, that's where it completely ends on, I guess. But yeah, so if you want, you can go ahead and explain your story.
Okay, so here's my DC universe. It's a lot more, I would say it is a bit smaller scaled, and also it is 3 phases. And there are some probably questionable decisions I came to. But here we go. Phase 1. Alright. Man of Steel is pretty much left intact. We're going to leave that alone. I would then do a Batman movie. Wonder Woman, besides the CGI fight at the end. I hated that part. So Wonder Woman besides that, and Aquaman. We're only going to do those 4 movies in phase 1 and then Justice League. Here's how it's going to happen. So we got Man of Steel and we pretty much got Wonder Woman with Batman. Now, I liked in, the actual DCEU, I do like the idea of a retired Batman coming back. I know a lot of people weren't fans of that, but I thought it was okay. I don't think it was handled in the best way, but I liked the idea, so that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I was going to combine, sort of a Dark Knight Returns with Under the Red Hood type of vibe with Jason Todd. And for Batman to be like, the main lesson is going to be, hey, if I'm going to get back in the game here, and I'm going to be Batman again, I need to be more careful. Because, Jason Todd was the reason, Jason Todd's causing havoc, and he's going on this killing spree. So Bruce Wayne's like, okay, you know what? Batman time. But, the lesson here at the end is Batman's kind of like, if I'm going to do this, I have to be careful. I have to be better than who I was. So that would be my Batman movie. Now with Aquaman, I did kind of mention this when we talked about the Aquaman screenings. I would maintain, my story where, it's kind of like he doesn't really want to rule, but he has to play with the hand he's dealt, and he kind of has to deal with it. And he really has to make wise decisions as a leader, and he's not used to that. He's used to being this immature guy, just running around having adventures. He doesn't want to rule, and he's putting no effort into it. He kind of learns that sometimes you just have to deal with who you are as a person. And that'd be my Aquaman movie. Now, here's probably huge gripe. Number 1, I'm probably going to get from some people in Justice League, okay? So my roster would be, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. Cyborg would be introduced in this movie as a result of the mother boxes. The Flash would be introduced as well because, I did like the idea as well of a kind of parallel. You got Bruce, who is so old and seasoned, and then you have the Flash, who, he even said, oh, I've never been in a fight. So I kind of wanted to highlight that by introducing him here instead of giving him his own. So he's sort of like the new kid on the block of the. And the deal is, I would go to Darkseid and Steppenwolf right away. Now it would be a sort of duo type thing, but Steppenwolf, I would kind of give him back what he was supposed to have in the original draft of Justice League, where he wants to get away from Darkseid. He doesn't want to work for him and be his bitch all the time. So that would kind of be sort of clash between these two forces, and the Justice League would defeat them. All's right with the world. There we go. Now we're going to jump into Phase 2. For Phase 2 with me, I would give a Man of Steel sequel. Now, in the Man of Steel sequel, I would say the city is working on being rebuilt. And you have Lex Luthor come in, and he's saying, I'm working on fixing up the city. I'm trying to be a good public servant. And I even have donations from Bruce Wayne, which could be a nice little cross. I don't know Lex's intentions at the time. And, I would maintain sort of the storyline from, Batman v Superman. We're going to take Zod's DNA, we're going to create Doomsday. Although instead of making it this Justice League prequel, it's going to be more of just a Superman deal. So, basically that's what happens. But Lex, he gets away. He has his lawyers, he has his means, and he kind of has to go underground after the whole Doomsday's done, trying to get rid of Superman. I don't have really a specific order for my phases. Like, I'm just listing off the movies of the phases. I'm not saying here's this by release and then release and then release. So
yeah,
I'm gonna jump to Flash. So with the Flash, he had this amazing experience taking down these parademons and the mother boxes, Darkseid, and all that stuff. But he finally figures out who killed his mother, and I would do a Reverse Flash type thing. But I would do Flashpoint right here and there. And that's a big, crossover move, because you have to get all the other actors, well, besides the Batman actor, to kind of reprise the roles. And so it would feel like a Justice League 2.0. It's definitely focused on the Flash's point of view of this alternate hell where the Justice League's just at war with each other, and Superman's just this weak and pathetic thing under a vault. So that would be the Flash's idea, where he kind of learns the price of his powers. Hey, yeah, you did good taking down Darkseid, but you can't do whatever you want. That's kind of his lesson learned. For Wonder Woman 2, for Wonder Woman 2, I do agree with the modern day setting. I would do Cheetah. I would get back more into the island full of all the Amazon women. I would delve more into their backstory and more of their philosophy on life, because you saw them in the first Wonder Woman. They were like, we don't get involved, and men are hopeless, and so we kind of deal with that a little bit. Maybe we kind of learn, hey, maybe these amazing Amazon warriors, they're not as perfect as they came across in the first movie. Maybe they have their own problems. So that could be kind of her thing, and Cheetah could be involved with that. She could maybe try and enact an Amazonian civil war.
Oh.
Which that would be very interesting for her. Now, after that, we're going to do a Batman sequel. Now, the Batman sequel is going to focus on death of the family, which is I think that's a pretty underrated story, where you have the Joker escaping from Arkham and just hunting down all of his allies, all of Batman's allies, going from, Catwoman to Barbara or Batgirl. I'm not sure which one I would prefer. Would I do Oracle or would I do Batgirl? I'm not sure yet. But Catwoman, Batgirl, Red Hood, and whoever would be Robin at the time. I don't know if I would have Nightwing in. I might. That's like little details like that. I would say I haven't ironed out yet. But whoever is Robin, he would go after them, and that'd be a really cool dynamic. And the lesson Bruce would kind of learn at the end of it is, hey, I'm obviously not going to be around forever, sure, but my family will take care of themselves. They can handle themselves because they made it.
Mm.
I probably would, and here comes probably, I'm going to get shit for this number 2. I probably would have Alfred killed off. In
Whoa.
this, murdered by the Joker. And that's kind of Bruce's last connection from what he used to be to what he is now. This sort of reformed Batman. So that's that. And then I would say Cyborg would get a movie. But with Cyborg, I don't know much about the character. I would say it's more of a personal type of story. So instead of it being this whole, hey, yo, you gotta save the world type deal, it's more just him going against Star Labs as a corporation and him trying to make sure that there is no more cyborgs running around. And that's when we can create, the I forget, what is that name of the virus cyborg?
The Grid? Grid?
Grid.
Yeah.
Grid, yes. We would have Grid come in and be this sort of like antichrist to Cyborg created by his father, because his father's just obsessed with harnessing what, we saw Darkseid and Steppenwolf do wonders with these mother boxes. What can we do that we already haven't? So it basically would turn right on his ass and it would fuck everything up. And let me see. I don't know if I would give Aquaman a sequel. I think I would hold off Aquaman 2, Phase 3, and give him a breather. But I think I have an idea for him. So for my second huge team-up movie, I would do Blackest Night. And with Blackest Night, this is how I would introduce Green Lantern. And I would do Jon Stewart just because that's the one I grew up with. I would watch the Justice League cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always used to Jon Stewart. I didn't get introduced to Hal Jordan until years later. So that's just a personal touch with me, Jon Stewart. But, we can already establish him as the Green Lantern, the Guardian of the Earth. And, we can say Earth got a Guardian after Darkseid's attack. The Green Lantern Corps is kind of reserved, shall we say. And, they would be like, okay, we need to expand. Any planet with sustainable life must get a Green Lantern deal. So they finally pick out Jon Stewart. But, the Black Rings kind of attack. And this is how the Justice League comes in, because some of the Justice League members get corrupted with the Black Rings. And they're it's going to be a sort of Civil War invasion-ish type thing. And, we would I would say this is where I would kill Superman personally. And Superman is basically forcefully killed by one of the members because, it's just that Black Ring it's got him. And we don't know. We can't keep giving him chances and hoping, hey, he's going to turn. So they had to take him out, it's fucked up. But Superman's out. He's out of the game. So then we're going to jump into Phase 3, and this is kind of the most chaotic type one. For Phase 3, I would do this. I would give Green Lantern his own movie, because Jon Stewart, I would say, deserves a spotlight with, I would do Sinestro. That would be my deal. I would do a second Flash movie with, yes, the Rogues Gallery. But also I would, I would do the alternate universes as well,
Mm-hmm.
I do think the multiverse is a very interesting idea. I would introduce Harrison Wells because that's my favorite character from the CW show. Just the concept of this brilliant scientist and all the different versions of him. I think that would be cool, and this guy could be Barry's hero and Don't Meet Your Heroes, this sort of deal. Aquaman 2, I would bring in Black Manta and have him try to, usurp Arthur and his whole reign. And, he's obviously going to fail. But that would be what's going on in Atlantis. Now for Batman, this would be Batman's third movie. I would do, for Batman's third movie, Tower of Babel. Basically, he's afraid. the whole Blackest Night thing kind of scared him. Like, whoa, what would happen if, like, the Justice League just started going fucking nuts? Like, what's going to go on? So, he creates his contingency plans. And, Lex Luthor reemerges, and he gets a hold of these, and with, he basically enacts the villains we've seen in previous movies, the ones that are alive anyway. I haven't specified who would live or die villain-wise, but the villains who did survive, he would come into contact with and be like, hey, yo, here's the weaknesses of the Justice League. Go fuck them up. Most of the Justice League would get, incapacitated, and it's up to Batman, frankly, to deal with all these threats on his own. And then, yeah, he has Oracle and he has Robin, but still, this is a Justice League threat. So with only Batman on the case, it's going to be rather rough. So basically, at the end, Batman kind of is like, he has to learn to trust the team, trust the system. And, the death of Superman was tragic, true. But you can't let that betray your team's trust, just because any one of us could fall. Now, after that, for Phase 3, I would introduce the Justice League Dark. I'm actually a pretty big fan of them. I like their concept, I like the idea of them. I love John Constantine. And they would kind of be my sort of, Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad type thing, where they're kind of the oddball ones, where you're kind of like, well, that's a bit of a risk, but I'm going to do it anyway. So yeah, I would maintain that storyline for that movie with Constantine, Swamp Thing, all of them. Now, let me see. What would be getting missed? I would give Wonder Woman a third film, and it could be her going up against maybe a sort of reincarnated Zeus. He could have survived somehow, or he could have been reborn, thinking, wow, all this fucking war, disease, crime, poverty, the world needs to start over. So Diana has to go against her own father, because he's kind of he wants to press the Noah's Ark button and be like, okay, we're just going to wipe out the Earth, start anew. So that could be a cool Wonder Woman 3. Now, finally, I would say for my third and final Justice League movie, I would do Crisis on Two Earths. I like the idea of an evil Justice League or an anti-Justice League,
Crime Syndicate.
Kind of like what Superman turns the Justice League into in the Injustice storyline.
Yeah.
But obviously in that universe, Superman's alive.
Oh.
And, you can have the heroes kind of question, hey, if we were a bit more harsh like these guys, would we do better? Could Superman maybe even be alive if we did better like that? So it could be a cool clash to see them have to fight their former leader, just an evil fucking nuts version of him. So that would probably be that would be my third and final Justice League movie. Now, this wouldn't be the end of my universe, per se. This would be, I would say, the end of the main line of heroes. Phase 4, I did say there wasn't a Phase 4 because I don't have any specifics planned, but Phase 4 would be taking the more side characters or the spin-off characters, like Justice League Dark would get a sequel. We could do Suicide Squad. We could do a Nightwing movie. Finally, we can have Nightwing come in. Things like that, I would say, that would take center stage on Phase 4. And we would kind of, thin out the main heroes so that they're less and less on the forefront. To where then it's just these new guys. And we could even do maybe a Teen Titans movie serving as, the new Justice League, if you get what I mean. These young heroes coming together to stop the threat. That could kind of be the way Phase 4 caps out. But that's my universe. I know it's not perfect, and obviously there are a couple loose details in there, but if I probably wrote this down, it would be better. But that's what I got.
I like the idea of keeping Superman dead. Like I think that's a huge risk WB wouldn't completely do. Like obviously they couldn't really do it in Batman v Superman because the dirt rising. Um, but the fact that Superman, when he dies and he's killed off by one of the own Justice League members, that would be pretty cool for like one of them to question their own morality. Like, fuck, I killed my leader. So you kind of have them like conflicting with that conflict in the Crisis on Two Earths kind of deal. You'd be like, I don't really want to fight my leader, because I was the one who killed him off. They would feel like a responsibility towards that. But that would be like cool for like someone to exit the Justice League and for them to be like another member. Like it's like that was kind of like mine. Like how once Batman died off, there was more members on, and they were trying to find the quote unquote seventh member. Trying to find the person to replace the missing chair or whatever. But that would be kind of cool to see like the person whoever killed off Superman go through the conflict of like, can I really fight an evil version of my leader just because I was the one who had to kill him off. And then the Batman storyline where he like it kind of deals, I think it's Justice League Doom. I think that's what the story's based off of when like he has contingency plans for the entire Justice League. I think that would have been pretty cool to do too. Obviously I couldn't find room in my shit. I think that's mainly why I did the Injustice storyline. But Phase 4, I feel like your Phase 4 would have been not like the ending, but like just like a new age of like superheroes and stuff.
Yeah, it would be sort of like a soft reboot.
Yeah,
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, those guys are kind of done. It's still the same universe, but here are like the new heroes.
Yeah, similar to like First Class. Like it was a soft reboot, and then comes Days of Future Past, and now we have all these new X-Men movies that I'm pretty sure are gonna end pretty soon. But yeah, just to keep that universe going, like, cause I was like, damn, I really can't reboot it. The heroes are done. So it'd be cool to do like a soft reboot and just continue from there. And then, I guess later on you could reintroduce the multiverse and have a different version of the Justice League come back or whatever. But that's one of the things that like I wanted to focus on. So I guess, moving on, not completely moving on, but like the question is like, how would you end your own shared universe, but then reboot a completely new shared universe? Like how would you completely, like, especially with Marvel ending soon, I'm assuming Phase 4 will be the last one. If not, that's insane to completely go on to even a Phase 6 to think about that. But that's one of the questions I'm always asking myself. Like, if Marvel does end their shared universe, what would they do to reboot it, Because obviously you're not going to have big names like Robert Downey Jr. You're not going to have like Chris Evans or Chris Pratt or, Dave Bautista or any of these actors that you've made big based on these movies and stuff. So it's like, would you wait like a few years or like a decade or so to reboot it? We know Marvel and DC can't really go that long without making movies. DC, I think the longest break they've ever taken was the 2-year span between Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But again,
I would say the longest break was Dark Knight 2, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah, that's true. But it's still like hard to grasp. Like once you're done with your universe, like what do you do after your universe? Like you can't just restart it off like with the X-Men or something. That's the thing too. That is just like it just really like confuses me. Like what are they going to completely do once their universes are over?
Well, the idea here with mine at least is once we get past the main storyline and the main heroes, that's kind of when you go all fucking out. Like Phase 4, a Justice League Dark 2. That's when stuff like the Joker origin movie, crazy fucking ideas like that can be taken into consideration. Maybe the lesser known heroes, who knows, fucking Plastic Man or Kite Man, maybe they'll get a movie next. But that's when you really gotta start reaching out, like, deep in the toy box.
Yeah, like I know, like, Phase 4, we're finally getting, like, or Phase 3, we finally got a lot of more new characters, like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and, well, not Spider-Man to say, but, like, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, but, like, DC really hasn't introduced a lot of characters other than the main 6 of the Justice League. not including Green Lantern, that Green Lantern scene, which was one of my favorite scenes in the Justice League movie. But like now that they're doing Shazam and possibly a Batgirl movie, it's like, well, where are these other characters that the DC has? Like, I know maybe all these 7 members make the most money out of all the other small characters, but like taking risks like Suicide Squad, and Shazam is the next risk they're taking. I just feel like the movie studios today should take more of a risk, especially with the lesser known characters, because once you get the lesser known characters out, people are gonna be like, wow, this is a really interesting concept. Like the other day I was talking to someone about Shazam, and they're like, are you like a kid gets powers from saying the word Shazam and he becomes an adult like that? They were like, that's a really cool power. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I just feel like you need to take more risk, because once you get these characters completely known is when people are going to start wanting to learn more. Like, okay, if Shazam, or if Enchantress connects with Justice League Dark, I want to learn more about Justice League Dark, and have, I don't know, let's say Black Adam tie into freaking, I don't know, like the Court of Owls, not the Court of Owls, but like some other mystical group in the DC universe. That's just like a gripe I have. Like, I really want the smaller characters to shine, especially when you said Teen Titans. Like the Teen Titans, I feel like that would definitely be one people would really want to see, especially with the TV show coming out. I mean, the old TV show ending, and the new one coming out in the DC streaming TV thing or whatever. But yeah, but that's yeah. I think that's just a question of like, what would you do after your universe? I guess that's a hard question to grasp, at least. So that's kind of why we did this episode, with some more expand on the ideas of how would we do it. We do want to do one for Marvel at a certain point, but I feel like that might have to wait till the end of Infinity War or right before, just so we can know what's going to be going on, to the point where we can actually do something about it.
Yeah, we could do a Marvel episode, maybe even a week before Infinity War drops out. And I mean, I'm really I'm impressed with what Marvel has done, but I definitely don't agree with every single choice they've made. So we can definitely do our own sort of reboots of how the MCU should have turned out until Infinity War.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I've read the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, the original, and it's way completely different from what it looks like in the trailers. I mean, not in the trailers, the movie. Cause,
it has to be.
Yeah, because like heroes start to disappear. I don't agree like either with Marvel. Like the fact that the Netflix characters will never see the light of day in the big screen. Like, how are you gonna have these? I know they have multiple characters like the Runaways and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. They deserve their spotlight too, if they earn it. And apparently Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has earned it, but I can't watch that show. But like Daredevil, like that's a character that I really wanted to see on screen for a long time. And with Ben Affleck's portrayal, it was really more of a standalone movie. It wasn't really like, oh, Spider-Man exists in this universe and stuff, which is cool, but now that you have it connected to this MCU, or this gigantic movie universe, you should add those lesser known characters to your universe. Like, I sincerely hope DC does not do like a Netflix show or whatever, but like, hey, here's the Justice League Dark, but you're never going to see them in the movies, but it's connected. Like, I really hope they don't do that. Like, that's why I'm kind of happy that the TV shows are this separate thing, just because the TV shows can do their own ideas. They wouldn't be able to do like things like Flashpoint or just whatever they could do. They have more creativity over what they can do in TV shows, and they you can do the same thing in the MCU universe, obviously, because they have the Hand storyline and the Defenders storyline and stuff. But you have these heroes that are just sitting there, like, that have potential. So I just feel like the Netflix characters should. That's the one thing like I would probably do in my reboot, like introduce the Defenders or something in the movies or something. I know they have too many characters to deal with that that can't really be in the movies, because they want to focus on bigger characters, like Captain America and stuff. But that's just one of my gripes I have with the MCU.
Well, I actually I was given a report from a really well-made source. Apparently, there's this idea where Thanos is going to slaughter all the Avengers, and I'm just like, whoa, what? And then all of a sudden the Inhumans come in, and they just kill Thanos in about 5 seconds, and that's how the MCU ends.
The Inhumans?
Yeah, the Inhumans, they just come in to save the day, and that's the end of the MCU.
The Inhumans save the Avengers.
Yeah.
The fucking moon people say, oh my god. The moon Thanos throws is the reason why he's killed off.
Fucking the ghost dog, whatever his name is, just bites off his throat.
That would be hell. Fucking Black Bolt, like, we're here to save you, and he just kills Thanos and drops the gauntlet. That would be completely weird if the Inhumans show up. I don't like the ideas of the Inhumans. I know they're just Marvel's ripoff of the X-Men, of their own fucking team, but oh my god. Even that storyline where they had Inhumans versus the X-Men and the X-Men lost, it's like, are you kidding me? I like the X-Men more than the Inhumans, to be honest. I mean, if it ends with the fucking dog biting Thanos' fucking throat, I would be a little pissed. But I mean, we'll see, I guess. I mean, it comes out in like a month or so from now, and I'm really excited for it, to be honest. I'm still doing the MCU watch list thing, even though I have to catch up. I think, like, later today I might watch the Iron Man 3 movie, which is not a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be a hot topic for the MCU episode.
Yeah, we will do a MCU episode at a certain point, but we just really wanted to focus on the DCEU, just because of how, like, fucking chaotic it is. And I don't know if you should consider Justice League as their quote unquote end of phase 1. I mean, it seems like it, especially since Shazam will be the next hero, but it's weird to, I don't know, it's weird to think that it's kind of, they have their shit, like, okay, here's this movie and this movie and this movie, but we're gonna work on this movie and just push it out there and like that. Like, I just feel like DC needs like a slate. It's mostly like a sandbox at this point, and it's not like a pin to pin, this is how this movie will connect and such. But yeah, I guess that kind of ends it for today's episode. Again, we weren't doing we weren't really doing a competitive thing. It was just to see how creative we can get. I wrote a fucking full page essay on this shit, having fun with it. I did have fun with it.
I improvised.
Yeah, Alex improvised most of his stuff, which again is probably a lot more creative than writing it down, because if you can improvise stuff like that, especially killing off the Superman with his own, cause I didn't even fucking think of that. I stick to DC storylines, and you mostly like took it your own kind of way, especially with the Jon Stewart kind of thing. But yeah, creativity like that is something that we were looking for in this episode. But yeah, so today was mainly just seeing what we could come up with, and if you guys would like it or not, I guess. But I had fun doing it. I definitely showed like more of my creative side of it. I feel like I could really like write these fucking movies for them and shit, you know. Like, I was nerding out thinking about, like, hey, what if Batman and Superman are killed off, but, you know, they're revived by the Blackest Night storyline and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. But
yeah, they would hire you. Me being like, oh no, we're just gonna Superman and that's it. They'd be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, like, you're coming, so like Batman's coming off Superman, get out. But yeah, I had fun doing this. Obviously I couldn't really expand on Phase 4 just because I knew I wanted to leave it up to Doomsday Clock, but obviously Doomsday Clock will not finish until July of next year now, which sucks ass. But yeah, I guess that'll be it for today. Next week, I think it'll be our Jessica Jones review. Jessica Jones is out this weekend, by the way, on Netflix. If you guys want to go see it, it's pretty funny. Have you seen it yet?
Okay, admittedly, the second we hang up, I'm literally going to run downstairs and start it.
You haven't started it yet? Oh my god! The first.
Yeah. I've been a bit busy, and I was like, okay. I woke up today and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this schoolwork done. I'm gonna do the podcast, and then I'm gonna start fucking season 2. I'm gonna get at least halfway through the season tonight.
It's amazing so far. I think you'll like it. I won't spoil anything, but it's really good. There's a funny moment in the show, which I hope you haven't been spoiled yet, because a lot of articles are writing about it. But I think it takes place within the first episode, and I just laughed my ass off at the fact of the thing they introduce. I won't spoil it, but it's a funny concept once you start to really like think about it. But I guess it gets pretty good.
I've only been spoiled about one thing, and the one thing is that there's a speedster character now.
Oh,
They spoiled me on that. Like, oh fuck! I kind of just jumped off the internet.
that's the thing I was gonna talk about, but I won't spoil anything else for you. But you'll have fun with the idea. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so.
All right, well, yeah, I'm gonna jump right on it.
All right. So yeah, I guess we'll end it here since I do have an essay to actually write. I wrote this instead of my actual essay, which I say worth it. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. We'll probably be doing the Jessica Jones review if I can finish it in time. I'm trying to finish it. I think I'm on like episode 5. It's getting really interesting at this point. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know if you guys liked our ideas, if you would expand on them. For sure, I want to do another one of these. I think the next one we probably will do is like a week before Infinity War comes out. We'll do a Marvel thing. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. I know this one was not short, but it was a long, very talkative, not even back and forth thing. But for sure, next week we'll be back with more topics and stuff and cover some of the stuff we missed. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It's still going strong. So I think this is episode 3, right? This is episode 3?
3.
Yeah. Yep, 3. So 3 and strong. We're 3 weeks and strong. So yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed. You can find us. You can follow us in the link description below. You can find me on Twitter and stuff. Alex, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at AlexR1391. I do random ass retweets and tweets about my day-to-day experiences.
You want to tell them the story of your high school thing? I actually wanted to hear that story too. This is a little special treat, I guess.
Well, I have a lot of high school stories.
That one that just happened recently when you sent your streaks or whatever about how the walk there or whatever, and you pulled the quote unquote Great Escape.
Oh, okay. Well, here's a mini story about me breaking the law. Don't get me arrested for this. So basically, here's the deal. So I woke up Tuesday morning and I missed the bus because, kids do that sometimes. And I kind of came out and I was like, yo, mother, need a ride? And she was like, yeah, no, you're not getting a ride from me. So I was like, I can't afford to miss today, so I had to walk. And I don't know. I mean, from where I live, it's a good, I would say, 3 miles to my school. 3 to 4 miles. And it was, thank God it wasn't snowing that day. I would have been probably fucked. But so yeah, I had to walk all the way to school. And I'm on the very edge of my town. The school's on the very other side of it. Like, if you go down my street, it's going to say, oh, you're leaving, where I live. I'm not going to state that. But, so I finally got to school halfway, about the end of second period, because I ran halfway. And, the school was giving me shit for it. They were like, yo, why are you late? And I was like, I had no means of transportation. I didn't have a ride. Nobody was going to drive me, so I did what I fucking could. It's better than skipping. And, cut to third period, and I'm in study hall with my friends. I'm playing cards with them. And they leave to go to Forbes. Now, Forbes is kind of this career-based center where you're allowed to sign up there and go there for half the day. I used to go there, but I dropped out. Well, I didn't drop out. I went there for my 11th grade year, and I didn't come back for my 12th grade year. So, we're playing cards, and they're like, oh, hey, there's the bus for us to go to Forbes. And all of a sudden, I just hear, oh, hey, Alex, the office wants to talk to you. And I'm like, are you fucking serious, guys? Can you guys not, accept the fact that I just had to walk to school and I was late? Like, relax. So, my friend kind of was like, oh, Alex, how about you just come with us to Forbes so you don't get in trouble? And I was like, okay, I'll do that exactly. So I took my friend's Ford hat and I put it on, then I put my hood over my head and I kind of just sneaked onto the bus with them. And I went to this completely separate building, this completely separate educational building with classes and teachers everywhere. And I literally was able to wander around and go into random classes with my friends and hide there all day. And then finally, the bus to go back to my high school came. And I was kind of worried. I was like, oh shit, okay. they probably knew I wasn't there in the building. And my friends were kind of like, oh, hey, how about you just, don't go through the front entrance like we do, go through a side entrance. And I was like, that might work. So I got off the bus a little bit earlier than the other kids, and I literally ran around to the other side of the building. And thank God for me, if this wasn't the case, I would have been fucked. But one of the doors were unlocked, one of the back doors. So I was able to slip in, and then I was able to slip back into my 12th period. Like, 12th period, I have 12 periods in my school. I hated the 12th period was starting, and I was able to slip in, and nobody noticed, like, teacher-wise. So I literally broke into my school, broke out of it, broke into this completely other building. I broke out of it, that as well, and I got back into my school, and no teachers noticed. I did the one thing no other kid has ever done in my school area.
Well, the great Alcatraz escape.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like.
I was like looking at your Snapchat, and I was like, that's hilarious, because I've never experienced something like that. I've had like kids like jump the fence in order to not get caught, but never like doing this like major Alcatraz plan about how fucking to not get caught by the office. That's crazy how they're like, hey, we need to talk to you for being late. That sounds really dumb.
Yeah, and my friends were kind of like, "Yo, you should do that again." And I was like, you know what? I might in April. I might try this again in April.
Man, that was cool. That was a cool thing to listen to. I don't even have a story like that. But yeah, I guess I'll end it for today. I guess your little special treat for sticking this long. If anyone does stick this long, I think there are gonna be like 3 people who told me they stayed into the end. But those are people that I actually know.
Here's a bonus story for you, and I've got millions of other crazy stories like that one, so maybe every now and then I can just toss one into the end of these things.
We were 3 episodes or something like that. We'll figure something out, something special. But yeah, so we're gonna end it here for now. We got shit to do. It's 12:30 over here, so I have to still do some stuff. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you guys think about it. You can find Alex on Twitter again. I'll put his Twitter in the description below, like I always do. There won't be any timestamps in the video if you've made it this. Why am I even saying this? This is too fucking late. Never mind. Never mind about timestamps. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. You guys can find us on Instagram and not Instagram, fucking social media and stuff. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about this. How would you reboot the DCEU? Obviously, you can go into full detail like how I did and wrote a fucking 5-page essay instead of a 4-page essay that I need to do for my English class. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. My name was Light. Go ahead.
I'm Alex.
Yep, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully next week. Spring break is right around the corner, so we'll do something else, I guess. Figure it out. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys later. Peace.